Hey y'all, I'm posting the sermon 8OE because I just feel like I have to. And when you get a calling from the Holy Spirit, it's best to heed it. Now I'm not saying I do that 100% of the time, because I've not got that down pat. No one has if we're on it. But that's something I strive to do whenever I hear a voice. And that's something that if a lot of people didn't, if everybody did more often, yes, beyond it, then the world would be happier and safer and holier place. But what I want to talk about and what I got convicted of is distractions. Cause we all can get distracted once in a while. Like in the background, I have a Resi network, a Resi streaming service pulled up, and I love Resi among many other things, but ultimately there's only one thing worth there's only one thing worth solved in the end. And I can't think of a better passage to, to illustrate it than this right here. If you would turn with me to Luke 10:38 through 42. Again in Luke 10:38 through 42. Now it happened as they went that he entered a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha welcomed him into the house. And she had a sister called Mary, who also sat at Jesus' feet and heard the word. And this is a very important word here. But because it says Mary was sat at Jesus' feet, but Martha was distracted with much serving. And she approached him and said, Lord, she sort of chastised Jesus a little bit here, which is always a laughable thing to do in hindsight. She says, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Therefore, tell her to help me. And Jesus answered and said to her, Martha. And I imagine him saying it in a very loving and understanding fatherly tone. He said, Martha, Martha, you are worried and troubled about many, many things, but one thing is needed. And Mary has chosen that good part, which will not be taken away from her. Martha was distracted by all these things that she thought were important. And don't get me wrong, they probably were important, because in those days, it was more important to serve guests and be on top of it than it is now. It was considered sort of an insult if you didn't serve well. But, and this is very important, anything next to Jesus is ultimately worth nothing. I mean, if you have a choice between just any temporary material of this world, any passable thing of this world, and Jesus, who offers eternity, though temporary thing that ultimately was nothing. In the beginning, when God made us, we were perfect. And the only reason we're not perfect right now is we got distracted. We couldn't see. Now, I'm going to tweak this saying a little bit. Most people say you can't see the forest through the trees, but we can't. One particular tree that we are sight of is the cross, and we tend to do that more times than I bet we're comfortable admitting. I mean, I do that a lot. I'm not accusing myself of that. Anything in God's creation that is not himself tend to get distracted by the things of this world. We get distracted, whether it be civil rights, whether it be social justice, whether it be anything. And those things are important. But, and this is very important too, all those distractions, all those things should always come back to the blood of Christ. They should be bathed and drenched in the blood of Christ. Because at the end of the day, all this stuff, all the trapping in this world, even our mortal bodies, are gonna pass away. And for those of us who believe in Christ, for those of us who have known that truth and had it revealed to us, we're going to be made perfect in His sight. But for those of us who don't, we're going to have a long time to regret all the things we got bogged down and distracted by. Guys, God cares about all the things you care about. But God ultimately is concerned with what you care about. Because He cares about you. But the thing that He says should be a top priority, because you're His top priority, is He Himself. Because He loves you, and He can bring you a happiness and a joy and a peace that you've never imagined before. That nothing in this world, nothing of temporary trappings of this world, or nothing the devil promises you. The devil promised Adam and Eve the wisdom of God. But God promises you that you can live with Him and reign with Him forever if you only believe in Him and if you only accept Him. That's the main difference between God and the devil. God promises you peace and an acceptance that you've never known. But the devil promises you mortal power and temporary pleasure that, regardless of what he says, will ultimately pass away. Guys, Martha had her eyes on something that wasn't of Christ, something that wasn't of Jesus. She had Jesus in the room with her. Think about that. Both Mary and Martha had Jesus in roughly the same vicinity of each other. But Mary knew the truth, and hindsight is always 2020. It's both a blessing and a curse. And I'm telling you something that Adam and Eve all wish they had known. I'm telling you that if you focus on Jesus and if you focus on Jesus and only on Him, then He can give you more than you ever possibly can imagine. Because He truly is in love with you. He truly sees what you want, what you need. You're His creation. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of respect. You're worthy of everything, regardless of what some people, or even the devil himself, would get you to believe. You're worthy of just immeasurable things simply for being a creation of Christ. And we just need to, unfortunately, a lot of people have got that mindset nowadays. Through the tree, they're focused on temporary possession, temporary gain. But Jesus specializes in the eternal. He specializes in the eternal so much so that He sent His Son to die on a tree, on a cross, just for you. Because He loves you more than you can imagine. He wants your happiness. He wants your joy. All He asks you to do is follow Him. I know that's easier said than done, but if it's in the gospel and it's a directive of Christ, then He'll give you the power to do so. Guys, I love you. God bless you. And I'll see you next week.